Welcome to the Run Lift Mom podcast, where we're talking about running, lifting, and momming, not necessarily in that order. You probably saw the episode description, fundraising for races in a crowded space, and thought, hey, we're going to be talking about running a lot today. And we are going to talk about running. I've got Jen Lawson, who is an executive director here in North Carolina for the American Heart Association, and she is a wealth of knowledge as far as creative campaigns, making them effective. I know she is going to help somebody with their efforts to raise money to a cause that is near and dear to their heart. I know she's going to be helpful with that. But you guys, the first half of this podcast is a must listen for the mother part. We got on the line, we're doing our brief, and Jen's like, hey, Suze, I'm willing to open up about Graham. Graham is part of her personal story. It is very much a part of her motherhood story, and Jen gets into her why, her reason for what she does at American Heart Association. It's courageous, it's vulnerable, and you will hear a woman who is positive and hopeful after being dealt one of the saddest providences that a mother can be dealt. So without further ado, meet my friend, Jen Lawson. Jen, welcome to the Run Lift Mom podcast.
Thanks, Susie. Thanks for inviting me.
Oh, you got it. You know, Jen, it's so everybody sees that you work for American Heart Association, and they probably think this is going to be like a know your numbers and let's talk about lady health and that kind of thing, but that's not the direction we're going in at all. And when I ask you to introduce your position, you also chose not to keep it generic. You're going to share a very personal story with us. I actually want to bat it back to you just to talk to us about what your organization means to you and how it's affected you personally.
Sure. So I'll share big picture. American Heart Association has been around since 1924. It was put together by a group of cardiologists from New York. And so in the past almost 100 years, we have raised billions of dollars for heart disease and stroke research. And so some of the things that have been invented through this funding, like medicated stents, artificial valves, pacemakers, medicines in your cabinet, like there are so many procedures and gizmos and gadgets and just things that exist now that didn't because of the research that we've funded. And they say it takes 10 years bench to bedside for the intelligent researcher to invent something, the FDA approves it, and then we start using it in our hospital systems. So big picture, that's what we're about. We fund more research than any other nonprofit other than the U.S. government in terms of heart and stroke research.
Wow.
Yes. And so, you got my heart racing when you did the intro because I started here. I worked for a college marketing company and was in sales. And so I started here about 7 years ago, and I had no connection to heart disease and stroke in my family. Within a couple years of working here, my mom was exhausted walking up the stairs and just out of breath. She weighs like 100 and something pounds. So it wasn't because she was overweight. It turns out she had a blockage in her carotid artery. And so my mom goes in and has a stent put in her carotid artery in her neck. A year or so later, it's clogged with plaque, and she has to go back in and have a medicated stent put in laced with chemo so plaque wouldn't grow in that stent in her neck. And so my why was my mom, like all of a sudden a couple years in. And then 21 months.
I want to stop you there. Really. So starting with why. We've talked on this podcast about starting with why. You've got to know why you're doing something. And Jen, I don't mean to interrupt you there, but like your mom being your why is super powerful. Keep going.
It is. It is. You're absolutely right. And so it was so scary because, Susie, if stents didn't exist, like if this were the 1940s or before, my mom would have just died. And that's what happened when these procedures didn't exist. Or if a medicated stent didn't exist, it would keep clogging with plaque and scar tissue. And so like it was such an aha for me that the people who fundraised 20 and 30 years ago, like literally made this possible for my mom to be here and be able to meet Noah, like my now 5-year-old.
Yes.
And so for years, that was my why. And then I got another slap by the universe, however. So I've got Noah, my little 5-year-old. He'll be 5 February 6th. He was my first little boy. Nothing wrong, right? 99% for height. Like, he weighed over 9 pounds. Everything was fine. Like,
every
he's
mom out there is like, whoa, Nelly,
Oh,
9
yeah.
pounds.
He is 100% boy, running all over the place. Like, I only get to cuddle and hug him like when we're laying in bed at night. And so my husband and I got pregnant with our second little boy, Graham. And 20-month ultrasound, they tell me there's something wrong with your baby's heart. And, my heart stops. We had no heart disease in our family. And I mean, Susie, we could talk for 30 minutes all day about it. But long story short, Graham didn't make it. And his birthday was May 15th, 2017. He was born at 4:20 and he passed at 4:45 due to multiple heart defects coming from my husband and I, who had no heart defects in our family. And so 1 in 110 babies will have a heart defect. It's the number one defect in babies. And so my main motivation now, like after 21 months of grief counseling and being able to talk about it, like a year ago, I would not have been able to have this conversation with you. I never want a family to go through what we went through. So that is my motivation now. And sorry to get choked up, but it is the most life-changing thing possible to lose a child. And so what I get excited about now, let me take a deep breath so I don't have tears in my voice.
Look, I know like a more experienced podcaster would edit this out. Jen, I'm not. It's very brave of you to talk about this, and it's very powerful. It's very powerful.
Well, thank you. And the reason I want to share is I want to be vulnerable and I want to tell the truth, because telling the story about my mom is not the biggest story in my life right now. Mm-hmm. And it changed our entire family. Like, we couldn't live in the house that we lived in Kernersville. We sold our house in like 48 hours and moved to High Point. So it's like, I literally couldn't be in that house that I planned to take him home to. So there's so many different elements to it, but I never want a family to go through this. And imagine, like, with the funds we're raising now with the Heart Association and the research we're doing, in 20 to 30 years, yes, what if there's like a magic procedure or a magic pill that the mom takes and it like magically fixes her child with a heart defect?
Yes, 2049. There's a mother that's at that 20-week ultrasound, and she gets the same. She gets the same diagnosis, but maybe she has a different conversation or a different care plan with her provider because of what's happening now.
Yes. I mean, think about it. So, I don't know. Who knows how many years, say it's 30 or 40 years ago, if you had a heart procedure, they might go in through your femoral artery in your leg, like right there by your thigh. And it takes hours. And then when you come out of it, they lay 40-pound sandbags on you so you don't bleed out. And you have to lay flat on your back, right? Nowadays, and this happened to Poppy, like my husband's grandfather, he needed a stent and a heart procedure. They go in through your radial artery in your wrist. They do the angioplasty to clean out the blockage and put in the stent. You're in a twilight zone awake for it because there's no pain. You don't have pain receptors in your heart area. And then you go home the next day.
Wow.
So we've seen like firsthand how far advancements have come. And so I get so passionate about it because the funds that I'm raising today, who knows what'll be possible in like 20 to 50 years. And I could help a family from going through what we went through.
Absolutely. Oh, Jen, I mean, look, I could cut it off here and it's an amazing, powerful podcast. I'm thinking there are listeners out there. Maybe it's not heart disease, right? Maybe it's something else, but yes, we all have these things, these whys, right? Your why is so powerful. We all have these whys that kind of drive us. And of course, this is the Run, Lift Mom podcast. And a lot of people are deciding, hey, I want to do a marathon or I want to do this big exercise challenge or race. I want to do it and I want to raise these funds that will change lives. So I'm really pivoting here. I've brought you on to talk about taking that significant, life changing experience that you are so fired up and passionate about and turn it into fundraising dollars for an organization that you care about. And again, for a lot of our, my audience, it's going to be maybe it's marathon runners. Here's the problem. Everybody and their brother is doing it on the Facebooks or wherever on social media, and it's a crowded space. So I want to talk to you because, you've seen a lot of fundraising there at the American Heart Association. You know what it's like to have a really powerful why behind maybe driving some of those dollars. Can you help us stand
Yes.
out from the crowd as we're fundraising for these things that are near and dear to our hearts?
Yes. So I'm the executive director here in the Triad, like covering Winston, like Forsyth County, Guilford County, and also Iredell. We raise almost $2 million here in fundraising that benefits American Heart. But whether you're passionate about cancer research or JDRF or whatever's personal to you, that's great because they're all doing research to find the next big breakthrough as well. And so you make me think about a few fundraisers here. There's this one young lady named Jenny, and she works in cardio rehab at one of our major hospital systems. The thing about Jenny is this is her cause. For years and years and years and years, 4 to 6 weeks before the Heart Walk, everybody knows that Jenny is going to be fundraising for the Winston-Salem Heart Walk, which is in October. And so she goes all in. Like, she wears red. In her little name badge at work, it says, like, help me fundraise for the Heart Walk. I'm a team captain. She hangs posters all over cardiac rehab. Like, she is all in. Now, she does it for 4 to 6 weeks so she doesn't burn people out.
Okay.
She will do gift baskets. So she'll have people donate gift baskets like lottery tickets. One is like pamper yourself with bath bombs and all cool stuff, like valued from, $50 to $100. And so you buy raffle tickets, and she fundraises and raises a few thousands through selling the raffle tickets and then raffles off the gift baskets. You could also do 50-50 raffles. So that's easy, and it'll literally cost you, other than going to Staples and buying a roll of tickets, sell 50-50 raffles. So if you raise $4,000, the person who wins gets 2,000 of it, and the other goes to charity. Or pull two winners, and they each get 1,000, and then the other 2,000 split goes to your charity of choice. And so those are two ideas that's really easy.
Yeah.
You could do, like, if you want to be fancier and do it like in honor of your mom or your sister or someone you've lost, I have people do like oyster roasts or a cornhole tournament. So go to your local bar, restaurant that you go to all the time and you know the owner and they love you, and say, I want to do a charity event. And maybe set a preset menu. So maybe it's $15 for like food and drink. You sell tickets for $30 a piece, have them all come on a set day, do cornhole out in the back patio. And again, you pay the restaurant, and then the overage is what you give to charity. So those are different event ideas. You don't need to do an event, though. There is this gentleman in Winston-Salem who's blind. He's part of Winston-Salem Industries for the Blind, and he raises thousands of dollars for that walk every year. He's got someone who helps him write a personal letter and does an email, and he sends them out. And again, like, this is his thing he does every single year, and he'll walk door to door assisted and saying, it's Heart Walk time, will you please give? And the thing is, you need to ask multiple times. This happened to me with my mom. I shared my mom before. I asked my mom via email to make a donation to the Heart Association. She didn't. So then I send her a text a week later saying, Mom, remember, please make a donation to me. She doesn't. Finally, I think it was like the day after the walk, I message her again. I'm like, Mom, this research literally saved your life. Give me money. Donate to my campaign. So I laugh about that, and I tell that story because, like, my own mom, people just get busy and they don't remember. So until they tell you, like, no, I've given to another charity for this year and I just can't, I just assume they've forgotten about me and haven't done it yet. And you just have to keep following up, because if my mom forgot about me and has medicated stent, like in her carotid artery, it just shows you, like, people are busy and it is a crowded space. and you've just got to follow up.
There's a saying that goes like, don't attribute to ill will what you can just attribute to being busy.
Yes.
Right. Like, so sometimes if we don't hear anything, we just assume, oh, they dislike my charity. They don't like me. It's crowded.
No, you send them a text and it like gets buried by a dozen other, or they meant to click on the email and go to your link, but the website was broken. Like, who knows? But until they say like, no, sorry, I can't, just keep following up.
Do you feel like that personal ask? Like, I hear you talking about the gentleman in Winston-Salem who, first of all, the consistency that he does it every year, but it sounds like both him as well as Jenny, they've got that personal touch to it. Do you feel like that's a difference maker?
Oh, 100%. So we find in Heart Walk land, like you make your Heart Walk webpage, putting your personal story on there. If you don't have your personal story on your page, like with a personalized photo, you might raise $250. People raise on average $770 when you put your personal why on the page and you add a few photos, because that lets the people you're soliciting know that you actually care about this and you've put in time and effort, and it's not the standard like copy that charity just has on there with the standard like picture of people smiling. So put time in, like write a letter and then put a personal note at the bottom like, Susie, this matters to me. I hope you make a donation in memory of Graham.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you consider donating something to me, even if it's $10?
Jen, I was just saying, I bet the listeners of this podcast 10 minutes ago had no emotional attachment whatsoever to the American Heart Association. And then we hear Graham's story. It makes a huge, huge difference to put that personal touch.
It does. And that's what I do, Susie. Like in the beginning, I fundraised for my mom, and now I fundraise for Graham. I raised over $1,000 for the Heart Walk. We call $1,000 threshold top walkers. And so you've got to make it personal. There's so many reasons to give, and it's okay. Like if somebody can't give, if they made a big donation to American Cancer Society, then I say like, thank you for supporting that and doing something in our community, and you just move on to the next.
Yeah, I like that too. Like, if it's just not in somebody's wheelhouse to donate, thank them for their time or whatever they supported, and definitely keep moving on. What do you do? So if you're doing your fundraising, you've got, your personal story, you're putting yourself out there, you're being vulnerable. How do you stay motivated if you are getting a lot of no's or silence, right? Because sometimes that's the hardest part.
Well, I come from a sales background, so I just see it all as a fun game. So make yourself a goal chart, like draw a thermometer or make it something fun, like a running shoe or whatever motivates you, and put it up. And don't focus so much on the money amount, but the ask out. So tell yourself like you're going to sit and send 50 emails, 25 texts, and make 5 phone calls. Worry about the ask, because then the money will follow. And so set a fun game for yourself and then say, I'm going to give it a break for 2 days, but then I'm going to follow up with everybody. And so that's how I'd stay motivated, and just track it. And I think giving yourself a time frame, there's a reason why November is successful for men, because it's a short period of time. You really just want to follow up people for 4 to 6 weeks, because if like it's a year-long campaign and your uncle knows like at every social gathering you're going to ask him for something for the whole year, that's not fun.
Right.
But if they know that your marathon's coming up, and let them know, say, hey, my marathon is July 30th, and from May to June, whatever, I'm going to be fundraising. Like, let people know, tell people all your business. Here's my goal. Here's my fundraising time frame. Please help me. So then there's no questions about it.
I love it. So one, focus on the controllables. Focus on the ask. You can't control how many people are going to click give, but you can control how many people you're going to make a personal ask of.
Yes.
I love that. And then I also like what you're saying about don't burn your network out. So 4 to 6 weeks being a magic number. And if you begin fundraising in May, it's okay to talk about it in April. The fundraising police won't get you. Just focus those concentrated efforts within that 4 to 6 week period.
Sure. You could do some teasers in April to say, this really matters to me. I'm training now, like post some photos of you running, but then start your actually fundraising in your in your time frame.
I love that. I love that.
We call it warm the room. You want to warm the room.
That way, by the time you are actually making the ask, they already know why this is so important to you. If you have that personal story, maybe it's still ringing in their ears.
Yes.
Love it. Love it. Awesome. Jen, I want to thank you so much. Again, we've got a lot of runners that are listeners of this podcast. Seems like everybody and their brother is fundraising, but this has been really helpful. Consistency, doing that 4 to 6 week, controlling that ask, being creative, and sharing your personal story.
And let me do one last plug, because if you've made a lifestyle change, the American Heart Association has a lifestyle change award, and we honor folks at the Guilford Heart Walk and also the Winston-Salem Heart Walk. So if somebody's had a heart attack or stroke, or maybe you've lost 50 pounds and you went like couch to 5K and now you're healthy and running marathons, please get in touch with me, because we'd love to hear those stories and recognize you or a loved one for their hard work.
Awesome. That is awesome. Everybody likes to be recognized, and yeah, you're going to throw a reward on it. I love it.
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jen, not only for sharing your fundraising expertise with us, but also for opening up and sharing your personal why. The American Heart Association is blessed to have you. And thank you for coming on the Run Lift Mom podcast.
Thank you for inviting me, and thank you for giving me the opportunity and the platform to talk about it, because, you know, it's a hard topic to talk about, and I think it's important. So
Out of the park, Jen Lawson. Totally out of the park. When I told my husband that I was bringing on an executive director from the American Heart Association as part of Heart Health Month, he thought it was going to be like a women's heart health, know your numbers type deal. Y'all know me better than that. I'm not going to do something generic like that, not when I have someone like Jen. The fundraising piece is incredibly helpful. I hope y'all took notes. I've also got some bullets in the show notes to help you out with those efforts. But more so, I want to thank Jen for opening up about her personal story with Graham. It took a ton of courage, the way that you are honoring his memory and being an inspiration to other mothers who have maybe been in your shoes. It's amazing. I am proud to know you, Jen, and I'm so glad that you came on the Run Lift Mom podcast. Until I get in your earpiece again, remember, for while bodily training is of some value, godliness is of value in every way, as it holds promise for the present life and also the life to come. That's from 1 Timothy 4:8, and this has been the Run Lift Mom podcast. Hey, Run Lift Mom listeners, you know I'm the mom of 4 kids under age 5, and therefore I am always looking for ways to work smart, not hard. Anchor is the smartest way to make a podcast. Let me tell you why. First of all, there are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer, but Anchor will also distribute your podcast for you, so then it can be heard on places like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and a whole lot more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It is quite literally everything you need all in one place, and y'all, it's free. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. It is time for the Zaya Active Product of the Week, and this week it is the All-Star Bra. The last marathon I did, I wore the All-Star Bra, and to be quite honest with you, when I didn't have any chafing at the end, I thought it was an isolated incident. Then, 3 weeks ago, I did a 100K race. That's 62 miles. That is 12 and a half hours out there. And at the start of the race, I was so preoccupied with my feet and keeping my feet healthy, I forgot to put Body Glide at my bra line and underneath my arms. Any runners out there are thinking, uh-oh, girl, game over. Not with the All-Star Bra. I was shocked to take that bra off after 0 outfit changes, zero lubrication, zero anything. And I had nothing underneath my bra line, under my arms, like nowhere was there any chafing. I can talk your ear off as to why this happened, but what I want to do is direct you toward any of the socials, Instagram, Facebook. Search for hashtag RunLiftMom. You can find me there. Learn about the All-Star Bra. I'm giving one away. You guys, it's the gold standard. Like what you heard? I am just getting started with the Run Lift Mom podcast. And as a newbie podcaster, it is really helpful for me if you subscribe, rate, and review. And to show you just how much I appreciate that, I'm going to be giving away a Zaya Active item of the week every single week during the month of February. I am calling this my Galentine's celebration, and here's how it works. If you have left a review, you are already in the drawing. If you haven't left a review, I would appreciate your honest words. So go ahead and leave a review, and then every single week I'm going to be doing a drawing for that item of the week. Get excited. I'm new. Your odds are good. I want you to experience Zaya as well as the knowledge our great guests are giving us about running, lifting, and momming.
I'd like to mention, if anyone is in the Forsyth or Guilford area and you're listening, our Guilford Heart and Stroke Walk is at UNCG campus May 18. And if you're interested, it's free to register, and you can get at the beginning of the line and go ahead and run it if you want to. So just Google Guilford Heart Walk and you can find the website and sign up. Again, it's free to sign up. And if you want to fundraise, we'd love it. But if not, come learn CPR, get your blood pressure checked. Check out the village. We have a kids zone. We have a doggy parade.
Is that a hands-only CPR?
It is hands-only CPR. We do training at the Heart Walk.
So this is for North Carolina folks. I know I do have some people that are outside of North Carolina. I mean, look, you can come stay with the good ones and drive up.
Oh.
But it's very important, folks. If you are a runner and you don't know hands-only CPR, that's bad news, man. You need to know hands-only CPR. These incidents happen on the race course all the time, and sometimes there are only other runners nearby. You're doing a disservice to your running community if you do not have this skill, and it does not take long to learn.
Thank you, Susie. I mean, the statistics are almost 350,000 people will have a heart attack outside of a hospital setting each year. So
Whew.
You're right. You need to know this.
Woo, we getting fired up about it, Jen.
Yep. So come find us if you're in the Triad. The Winston Walk is in October. And again, just Google it and you can find it. And if you have any other fundraising questions, I'm happy to help.
Cool. Is it okay? Is it okay if I put your information in the show notes of this? That way folks
Sure.
Okay, cool. Very good.
Sure. Yes.